All right. Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. God bless each and every single one of you. It is Hunter's Point here with another video. I hope you all are doing well so far today. I have an update I want to deliver. Now, I got to keep it down a little bit because I do have people trying to work on things here in the house, but just felt obligated to come on here and get this update out considering I have been doing research on all of these things since last night. I just felt this responsibility to come on here and deliver an update on the Parler situation. Right, because I know a lot of you, including myself, have used Parler. So we're kind of devastated at the situation going on with Parler, how all of these big tech companies are going out of their way to censor and shut down Parler, and it's just despicable. It's really despicable. So I'm going to read these three articles that I have found. It's all three of them are off of endtimeheadlines.org. So consider this to be your world news update for the 11th of January 2021. For this update, we're going to be focusing exclusively on all of the censorship going on with Parler and sort of the aftermath of them getting shut down last night. So I'm going to read this right now. All three of them, again, are off of endtimeheadlines.org. Again, I apologize if I'm having to talk quieter than normal. I do have people trying to work on things here in the house, but I still wanted to come on here and deliver this update. All right, so let's start with the first article. Social media platform Parler disappears after Amazon Cloud suspends the service. I'm going to read this. Alternative social media platform Parler has now gone down following Amazon's web service's decision to suspend the conservative network from its cloud hosting service after Wednesday's U.S. Capitol protests, according to a report from Fox News. CEO John Matze told users to, quote, hold on and come back, as the company figures out how to move forward during an interview on Mornings with Maria on Monday. Matze went on to say, quote, everyone should hold on and come back. He said we may have to go as far as buying and building our own data centers and buying up our own servers if we need to get back on the internet, but there is risk involved in that given what vendors are doing, the extent that they are willing to go to get rid of us. Quote, it is going to be devastating to our business, our model, and our potential to raise future capital, according to John Matze and what he's further stating on top of his previous statements. Quote, this could happen to any company, anybody, at any time. Doesn't matter which company or who you are. This comes as Google suspended Parler from its App Store on Friday due to what they are saying was a failure to moderate, quote, egregious content, unquote, posted by users related to the protest on Capitol Hill last week. According to the report, screenshots that were taken from Parler and shared on other social media platforms appear to show Parler users openly discussing plans for violence at the rally that preceded the attack on the Capitol building, including bringing weapons and imagining how they would wield them against their political opponents. Now, here's the thing, right? Not everybody who was sharing content on Parler was wanting to incite violence. Now, those who were openly discussing plans for violence, absolutely their posts should be taken down. Absolutely. There is no room for promoting or discussing violence. But if all you're doing is on there talking about wanting to get together and protest the decision at the Capitol, there's nothing wrong at all with peaceful protests. It's when you bring weapons and, go beyond the point of peaceful, that's when it becomes a problem. Right, and you notice a lot of the people who were actually causing all the rioting at Capitol Hill were actually BLM and Antifa people that were dressed up as Trump supporters. Right, so that's the story there. Continuing onwards. According to the report, screenshots, again, were taken from Parler, shared on other social media platforms. There were users that were openly discussing plans for violence at the rally that preceded the quote-unquote attack at the Capitol. Quote, nobody's presented any credible piece of information or evidence that that there's anything, problematic, if you will, on Parler that doesn't already exist on other platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. This really is a double standard. We see all sorts of nasty, threatening content on Twitter, much more of it actually, in our opinion, and yet you don't see that getting deleted, right? A lot of content that's deleted from Parler still remains on Twitter to this day in the form of screenshots. So I don't understand, what this is really about. Because it's not about holding everybody accountable equally. It's about giving preferential treatment to certain people, namely the big tech companies. So that is the updated article on the situation with Parler. They were shut down last night, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, and this is sort of the aftermath of Parler's shutdown. You see a clear lack of a double standard, right? Facebook and Twitter, they're allowed to have certain content up and get away with it. Yet, these alternative social media platforms such as Parler, the first chance you get to shut them down, you're going to do it. That's sad. But you know what? That's the world we live in. They're wanting a dystopian-style society, and looks to be the direction we're going in. Second article, hackers claim that they've downloaded everything from Parler before it was taken offline. This would be a good thing, I believe. Despite conservative social media network Parler being scrubbed from the internet in the early hours of Monday morning, hackers claim that they have found a way to download all the data posted by users, including messages, images, videos, and users' location data. Okay, this might not be good, actually. It's good if they're trying to help Parler rebuild the website, but this could also be used for malicious purposes. And again, I'm going to reread that part. Hackers claim that they found a way to download all data posted by users, including messages, images, videos, and users' location data that was shared during last week's attack on the Capitol. And many Trump supporters are voicing their concerns regarding what the data dump could expose about them in their activity in Washington, D.C. last week. According to a report from Vice, a hacker that goes by the name Cache Override went on Twitter claiming they were able to reverse engineer the Parler iOS app in order to find a web address that the application uses internally to retrieve data, allowing hackers to make a list of all posts, videos, and images that were uploaded to Parler, including posts that users had deleted, such as those referring to the Capitol attack last Wednesday. Vice stated, quote, the hackers set up a crowdsourcing system where multiple people could help download the content. The downloaded data is now being processed before being uploaded to the Internet Archive, where anyone and everyone will be able to view or download it, including the open source intelligence community and law enforcement agencies. So yes, this is not good. I'm sure this is going to be used for some malicious purpose. You know, who am I to think that something good could come out of something like this? It's the world we live in. Some Parler members expressed great concern over the hack, and one even stated, quote, the intent is a mass dox and a list to hold patriots accountable. Horrible. It is too late to scrub your data, and it's already archived. There's nothing you can do to prevent what's already happened. All you can do is prepare for the fallout. Accountability may come in many forms for our free speech. Doxing, jobs might be called, addresses leaked, and people coming to your house, etc. So yes, this is horrible. This is horrible. But you know what? This is where we're at as a nation. Yeah, there's not much you can really do here. Parler's been shut down, and now hackers have gotten into some of the old archived data for Parler and have managed to reverse engineer it in a way that they're trying to expose people who have a different point of view that they do. Freedom of speech as we know it's gone. Right? Censorship is on the rise, surveillance is on the rise. We're not allowed to have freedom of speech really in this country anymore. Obviously, right, the Constitution still dictates that we have freedom of speech, but do we really have freedom of speech nowadays? Right? They're coming after us left and right just for having different political beliefs than they do. And it's just sad. It's very, very sad. And this actually leads into the third and final article, brings up a very important question here. Freedom of speech as we know it is gone, so without freedom of speech, what is going to happen to America? I'm going to read this right now. This is an opinion piece from Michael Snyder at endtimeheadlines.org. It is quite ironic that many of those that are always telling us that we need to diverse ourselves in our society and have diversity are also some of the strongest voices against a diversity of viewpoints on social media. The founders of this nation wanted to make sure that nobody would ever take the right to freedom of speech away from us, and that is why it was enshrined in our Bill of Rights. Unfortunately, courts have greatly eroded that right over the last several decades, and we are now facing an all-out assault on our freedom of speech that is unlike anything we have ever seen before. And once freedom of speech is completely gone, all of our other rights will soon follow, because there will no longer be any way to defend them. When the United States was established, government was really the only major threat to free speech. In early America, corporations were severely limited in size and scope, and that is because our founders were determined not to let them get too big or too powerful. Sound familiar? It's because the exact opposite's happening today. Our founders knew that enormous concentrations of money and power would be great threats to freedom, and that has definitely turned out to be the case. In the old days, if you wanted to express yourself, you could grab a soapbox and head down to a local street corner. That's how it worked back then. The reason why we use the term marketplace of ideas today is because people literally used to gather in marketplaces and town squares and exchange ideas with one another. In our time, the internet has become the place where we all gather to exchange ideas, but unfortunately, control of all of the most important gathering spaces is in the hands of a very small group of colossal big tech corporations. When Facebook, Twitter, and others were first growing, they generally allowed people to say pretty much whatever they wanted to say, within reason, of course, and information flowed pretty freely. But censorship has escalated dramatically over the past 4 years, and it has reached a crescendo point the other day when Twitter announced that it would be permanently suspending President Trump's account. And this is not the only case. You hear a lot of conservatives getting shadow banned and completely purged off these sources, yet people who are liberals can go on and say whatever they want to say, right? And this isn't about politics. I'm not really a political guy, right? But I think we need to be calling this stuff out. It's not right that Trump supporters can say things within reason and get banned, yet Biden supporters can get on and say whatever they want to say, even if it's questionable, and none of their tweets get deleted. It's sad, if you ask me. This shows a significant increase in surveillance, in censorship. They're wanting to move us into a draconian-style society where all of these strict rules are enforced and you're not really allowed to exchange ideas. That's what they're wanting to move towards, and that's what we're seeing when you have sites like Parler getting shut down, yet Twitter and Facebook are allowed to severely censor people, and yet they're allowed to do whatever they want, no problem. This is where we're at. This is where we're at as a society today. That's the biggest reason why I am planning a backup channel, right? I'm not going to be able to do much here on YouTube in terms of a second channel, right? I have this channel. As long as I can continue uploading videos to this channel, I'm going to do so. Alright, you do not have to worry about me leaving YouTube. Alright, every time I record a video, it will be uploaded on this YouTube channel. So I don't want anyone to get any wrong ideas about me wanting to look for a backup. Right? Biggest reason I'm looking for a backup is just in case this channel on YouTube were to get shut down. Right? Because if, God forbid, they were to take my channel down, I'd want you guys to know where to find me. Right? And I'm still not 100% sure. I'm still looking into other things. I've looked into Rumble. I can't do Rumble, right? Because they won't let you edit the titles and descriptions like you do on YouTube. It won't let me upload a lot of my video archives. It gives me system errors. And no, it's not errors on my end, right? These are system errors within Rumble. It's not allowing me to upload a lot of my previous videos. So I can't do Rumble. I can't do BitChute for that same exact reason, that they won't allow me to upload a lot of my video archives. And I believe they actually have uploading size limits. So I can't really do BitChute either. Vimeo can't do. Too expensive. Right? Too expensive. And for what I'm wanting to do with my ministry, Vimeo's not going to work. Dailymotion, I was banned off there. You think it's bad here on YouTube for Christians. It's even worse on Dailymotion. I was actually banned off Dailymotion. Can't do Twitch because they only do live streams. They don't do, like, pre-recorded videos. Right? Twitch is strictly a live streaming platform. iConnect, looked into that. Can't do that. Not working for what I want to do with my ministry. Right? So one by one, all of these suggestions that you guys were kind enough to suggest, and I thank you guys, because I didn't know who to go to, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just ask you guys, and if you all had any suggestions for backups, that you would give them to me. And I looked into every single one you guys have sent, and none of them are going to work. And it's unfortunate, but that's just where we're at. Alright, there's one that I'm looking at right now, and I'm reluctant to use it. I don't really want to use it, but I feel that the Lord is actually leading me to use it, and that would be Patreon. So I don't know where we're going to go from here. I'm still not 100% sure, right? I don't even have my Patreon fully set up because I still don't know if that's the direction I want to go. I'm actually fighting with the Lord on this, right? Because the Lord's led me to Patreon for the past 2 weeks, and I've been arguing with him for the past couple of weeks because I really do not want to use Patreon if I don't have to. Alright, but I'm looking into other secondary, sites that you guys have sent, and none of them are working. So, my hands are kind of tied here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Whatever I decide to do, you guys, believe me, will be the first to know. Please continue praying for this YouTube channel, that it doesn't get deleted, that I don't get censored anymore. And whatever decision I make on my backup, I will let you guys know. Alright, so that's everything. That's the news I wanted to present, and that's the little update on my search for a backup that I wanted to provide with you all. I'm looking at Patreon. I'm still trying to keep my eyes out on a few others, but every one I've looked at so far hasn't worked. Right, and the Lord's leading me in one direction, and I don't really want to go in that direction, so I'm kind of fighting with the Lord a little bit on this. So, that is what I wanted to deliver. I'm going to give you guys the gospel and then head on out. The gospel's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 1 to 4. And it reads, Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also ye have received and wherein ye stand, by which also ye are saved, if ye keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless ye have believed in vain. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. That's the gospel, right? That is how you are saved if you believe that in your heart. All right, it's not dependent on your performance or your behavior or your good works. It's entirely in what Christ did for you on the cross of Calvary alone. This ties in with John 3:16-18, which says, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. As simple as that, right? Believing in your heart that Christ died on the cross, right, shedding his precious blood for the remission of all mankind's sin, past, present, future. He was buried in the tomb 3 days, proving he was dead, and he rose again on the third day, according to the Scriptures. It's really, really that simple, right? For our justification and our salvation. We're saved, we're justified by faith alone, in the finished redemptive work of Jesus Christ alone. I'm going to read Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, which says, For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Right? It's not dependent upon your own merit or accord. Right? It's entirely what Christ did. You have to decide if you want to put your full faith and trust in that or not. Right? Because that's what'll save you. That's the only thing that'll save you, is believing in Christ alone. Your performance will not get you anywhere. Or your water baptism won't get you anywhere. Right? Works salvation is more like works damnation. The only form of salvation is the free gift that's given to all those who have believed the gospel. So simple. So simple. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If you're stumbling across this video in my channel and you're a non-believer, may today be the day of salvation for you, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. I would implore you and encourage you strongly to believe on Christ right here, right now, because your next breath is not guaranteed to you, right? So please believe on Christ if you haven't, all right? And one more thing before I end. I know that there's a lot of you who are not fans of Patreon. I am not 100% sure I want to use it, but that's really looking like the only viable alternative for me. So, again, I'm still fighting the Lord on this. Please pray. I'm still trying to look into other different, like, backup apps, but I haven't found anything yet that would actually work for me. So, I will keep you guys posted on my continued search for a backup. I just wanted to let you guys know the one I'm looking at right now, and the one that's probably going to be, where I end up going, would be Patreon. So I just wanted to keep you guys up to date. I'll see you guys in the next video, should the Lord tarry is coming. Otherwise, God bless. All right, take care of you guys.